everyone, and a truly massive warm welcome back to English Style, the place where improving your everyday English is always simple, natural, and incredibly fun. I'm Elena, your main teacher.
And hello from my side, too. I am Jack, your supportive co-host. It is absolutely brilliant to be back here in the studio with you today, Elena, and of course, hanging out with all of our amazing language learners listening to us from every single corner of the world. Welcome to English Style with Jack and Elena.
Jack, before we introduce our super exciting topic for today, I have to tell you about a funny thing that happened when I came back from a weekend tour a few months ago.
Oh, I always love a good post-tour story, Elena. Did you accidentally bring home someone else's luggage from the bus station, or did you get lost on the way back?
Thankfully, I kept my own bags, but when I arrived back at my apartment building, I met 3 different neighbors on the stairs. Every single one of them asked me the exact same question. How was your tour? But Jack, because I was completely exhausted from traveling, I gave 3 totally different answers without even realizing it.
Really? What did you say to them?
Well, to my first neighbor, who is a very close friend, I said, "Oh, it was an absolute blast." To my second neighbor, who is an elderly gentleman, I said it was a highly pleasant and refreshing experience. And to the third neighbor, I just sighed and said, "It was great, but the journey completely wiped me out."
That is a perfect example of how our language changes depending on who we are speaking to. And you know what? That is exactly what we are focusing on today. Today, we are going to explore the different ways to answer the question, how was your tour?
Exactly, Jack. Whether someone calls it a tour, a trip, a journey, or holiday, knowing how to describe your travel experiences is a vital skill for B1 and pre-intermediate learners. Today, we are going to break this down into 4 natural, real-life scenarios, contrasting casual slang with formal, professional options. Let's jump straight into our very first scenario.
All right, let's start with the best possible situation. You just came back from an incredible vacation, everything went perfectly, and you are talking to your best friends or family members. English Style with Jack and Elena.
In a highly casual setting, when you want to express that a trip was incredibly fun, native speakers rarely just say, "It was good." We love to use lively idioms. One very common slang expression you'll hear is, "It was an absolute blast." For example, you could say, "Our weekend tour to the mountains was an absolute blast."
An absolute blast is such a fantastic phrase. Let's explain that clearly for our B1 learners at home. It has nothing to do with explosions. It simply means you had an amazing, highly enjoyable time. Another very popular casual phrase is to have the time of your life. For instance, the kids had the time of their lives at the amusement park during the tour.
Yes, that shows maximum happiness. Another common informal phrase people use when everything about the trip felt perfect and beautiful is, "It was out of this world." For example, the scenery during the coastal tour was just out of this world.
Out of this world is a wonderful way to say something was so beautiful or amazing that it didn't even feel real. Now, Elena, how do we change these expressions if we are in a formal setting? Imagine you're talking to your company director, or writing a travel report, or speaking during an English exam.
Formally, instead of saying "it was a blast," you should use expressions like, "The tour was an overwhelmingly positive experience." For instance, the educational tour of the historical museums was an overwhelmingly positive experience for the entire team.
That sounds so professional and polished. What about describing beautiful scenery formally?
Instead of "out of this world," you can say "the sights were visually spectacular," or "the landscape was exceptionally picturesque." For example, "We took a guided tour through the valley and the landscape was exceptionally picturesque."
Picturesque is a magnificent word for intermediate learners to practice. It means a place is so lovely and beautiful that it looks exactly like a painting or a photograph. Another great formal phrase to describe a successful tour is, "The trip exceeded all of our expectations." Now let's move on to our second scenario. Sometimes a tour is fun, but the actual travel part, the long flights, the delayed trains, or the hours spent sitting on a bus, leaves you feeling completely dead. How do we describe a tiring tour to our friends?
Oh, we have so many great casual phrasal verbs for this. When a journey leaves you with zero energy, you can say, "It completely wiped me out." For example, "The tour was great, but the 12-hour bus ride back completely wiped me out."
Wiped me out is an absolute classic. It means all your energy has been completely washed away, like water wiping away chalk on a blackboard. Another very common casual word that means the exact same thing is knocked out. You can say, "As soon as I got home from the tour, I was completely knocked out and slept for 10 hours.
Yes, that happens to me every time. Another informal idiom you might hear when a trip was full of rushing around and was not relaxing at all is, "It was a whirlwind tour." For instance, we visited 4 cities in 3 days. It was a total whirlwind tour.
Whirlwind is a perfect word here because it sounds like a fast, spinning windstorm. It means everything happened so quickly that you didn't even have time to sit down and think. Now, Elena, how do we express these feelings of tiredness in a formal or professional conversation?
Formally, instead of saying a journey wiped you out, you can say, "The travel schedule was exceptionally demanding," or "The journey was highly fatiguing." For example, although the business tour was successful, the international travel schedule was exceptionally demanding.
Highly fatiguing sounds very sophisticated. Fatigue is just a formal vocabulary word for extreme tiredness. And what about a whirlwind tour? How do we describe a fast trip formally?
You can say the itinerary was highly condensed. For instance, due to time constraints, we followed a highly condensed itinerary throughout our tour of the regional offices.
Condensed itinerary is a gold star phrase, Jack. Itinerary means your travel plan or schedule, and condensed means packed tightly together. Using this phrase shows a very high level of English control.
This is such a practical and valuable lesson today, Jack. I am having a wonderful time discussing these travel descriptions. If all of our amazing language learners practicing with us at home are enjoying this episode and finding these phrases helpful, please take a quick moment right now to like this video and subscribe to our channel, English Style.
Yes, please do. Every single like and subscription helps our English Style community grow and allows us to keep creating these high-quality, long-form lessons for you. And now it is time for our legendary weekly keyword comment challenge.
Yes, we want to see who is truly committed to their fluency goals today. If you are still watching and listening to our voices right now, go straight down to the comment section below and type the word tour in large capital letters.
Don't hesitate. Type tour in the comments right this second. It is a beautiful, simple way to actively participate in your own learning process. Remember, when you subscribe to English Style, you get access to regular, comprehensive lessons that focus on helping you bridge the gap between basic English and fluent, natural speech.
We absolutely love reading your comments and seeing where you're listening from, so go ahead and type it in. Now, let's move on to our third scenario.
Welcome back, everyone. For our third scenario, let's talk about a situation we all hate, but it happens to everyone eventually. You go on a tour, but everything goes completely wrong. The hotel is terrible, the weather is awful, and you lose your wallet. English Style with Jack and Elena.
Oh, the vacation disasters. Informally, when talking to friends about a trip where multiple things went wrong, native speakers love to use the expression, "It was a complete nightmare." For example, The hotel had no hot water and our bags were lost. The whole tour was a complete nightmare.
A complete nightmare is a very powerful casual phrase to describe an awful experience. Another great informal idiom for when a tour starts badly and continues to get worse and worse is, "it went downhill from there." For instance, first our tour bus broke down and things just went downhill from there.
Went downhill is a very vivid idiom. It means a situation quickly became worse and less successful, just like a bicycle rolling fast down a hill out of control. Another casual phrase we use when a trip is a total waste of time and money is a total letdown. You can say, the famous tourist spot was so crowded and dirty, it was a total letdown.
A letdown simply means a big disappointment. Now, let's look at the formal side. Imagine you are writing an official complaint email to a tour agency, or speaking to a hotel manager, or describing a bad travel experience in an academic essay. How do you say these things politely but firmly?
Formally, instead of saying, "it was a nightmare," you should use phrases like, "the tour was highly problematic," or "we encountered numerous complications." For example, "regrettably, we encountered numerous complications regarding our accommodation during the guided tour."
Encountered numerous complications sounds incredibly professional, Elena. It means you faced many difficult problems. And instead of saying things went downhill, what is a formal alternative?
You can say, "the situation deteriorated progressively." For instance, "following the initial transportation delay, the situation deteriorated progressively throughout the weekend."
Wow, deteriorated progressively. That is a beautiful phrase. Deteriorate means to get worse, and progressively means step by step over time. Finally, instead of a total letdown, you can formally say, "the experience fell short of our expectations."
Let's finish our scenarios on a happy, peaceful note. Our fourth scenario is about describing a tour that was completely relaxing, a trip where you spent your time sitting by a quiet lake, walking in nature, and clearing your mind from daily stress.
My absolute favorite kind of tour. Informally, when you are talking to your coworkers or friends about a very peaceful trip, a beautiful phrase to use is, "it was just what the doctor ordered." For example, spending 3 days in that quiet village was just what the doctor ordered.
Oh, I love that idiom, Jack. Just what the doctor ordered does not mean a real doctor gave you a prescription. It simply means something was exactly what you needed to feel better, healthier, and happier at that moment.
Exactly. Another common casual expression for a peaceful tour is to recharge your batteries. For instance, the nature tour was wonderful. It really helped me recharge my batteries before coming back to work.
Recharge your batteries is a perfect metaphor for getting your physical and mental energy back. Another simple, casual phrase is to get away from it all. You can say, "we decided to take a tour of the countryside just to get away from it all for a few days."
To get away from it all means to escape from your busy, stressful daily routine and noisy city life. But Elena, how do we express these peaceful, relaxing travel experiences in a formal or professional context?
Formally, instead of saying "get away from it all," you can use the phrase "to seek isolation from urban stressors" or "to experience a tranquil environment." For example, the primary goal of the executive retreat was to experience a tranquil environment and reflect on our long-term goals.
Tranquil environment sounds incredibly peaceful and elegant. Tranquil is just a higher-level word for calm, quiet, and peaceful. And what about recharging your batteries? How do we say that formally?
You can say "to facilitate physical and mental restoration." For instance, the coastal tour was designed to facilitate mental restoration and improve overall well-being.
Mental restoration is a magnificent choice of words. These formal expressions show that you can speak about wellness, nature, and relaxation with high clarity and vocabulary variety.
Now, Jack, let's take all of these brilliant casual and formal expressions we have broken down today and put them into a realistic live role play. This will help our B1 learners hear how these phrases fit perfectly into a real conversation.
I am completely ready for this, Elena. For this role play, let's pretend we are two office colleagues meeting in the break room on a Monday morning. Elena has just returned from a week-long regional tour, and I am going to ask her all about it. I will start the conversation. Let's do it. Elena, welcome back to the office. It is so wonderful to see you. How was your regional tour last week?
Jack, good morning. Oh, it is great to be back, though I have to admit the journey back yesterday completely wiped me out. I was totally knocked out last night.
Oh no! Was the travel schedule that demanding?
Yes, unfortunately, the transportation situation deteriorated progressively on Sunday. Our train was delayed for 3 hours, and we encountered numerous complications with our luggage. The return journey was a complete nightmare, to be honest.
Oh, what a shame. That sounds incredibly fatiguing. But tell me, how was the actual tour during the week before the journey back? Was it successful?
Oh, the actual tour exceeded all of our expectations. Visually, the regional cities were exceptionally picturesque, and the landscape was just out of this world. We also managed to sample a lot of traditional delicacies.
That sounds amazing, Elena. Did you have a highly condensed itinerary, or did you get some time to relax?
The first 3 days were a total whirlwind tour because we had to visit 5 different offices. But on Friday, the team had an overwhelmingly positive experience. We took a guided tour through a beautiful forest, and it really allowed us to experience a tranquil environment. It was just what the doctor ordered to facilitate some mental restoration after a busy week.
Wow, it sounds like a mix of everything. A whirlwind week followed by a peaceful Friday and then a crazy journey home. Well, I'm glad the tour itself was an absolute blast. Let's get you a large cup of coffee to help you get back into the work routine today.
Yes, please. A large coffee is exactly what I need right now. Thanks, Jack.
No problem. Let's head to the coffee machine.
And scene. That was an excellent natural conversation, Jack. Notice how smoothly we blended casual travel phrases like wiped me out and an absolute blast with structured terms like picturesque landscape and condensed itinerary.
Yes, it flowed beautifully, Elena. And that is the ultimate secret for our pre-intermediate learners. You do not need to memorize an entire dictionary. You just need to learn how to pick standard, clear sentences and add a few natural idioms or formal verbs depending on the situation.
Exactly. Consistency is your greatest superpower in language learning. Don't just listen to us today. Take these phrases and try creating your own sentences about a past tour or your dream trip tonight. Say them out loud to build your confidence and muscle memory.
That is wonderful advice, Elena. Well, everyone, that brings us to the very end of today's comprehensive episode on English style. We are so incredibly proud of you for investing your valuable time into practicing your English listening skills with us today.
Thank you all so much for listening. Please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to English Style so you never miss a weekly lesson, and leave your comment with our challenge word tour right below the video.
Keep exploring, keep practicing your English every single day, and we will see you all in our next exciting episode. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Happy learning and have a beautiful day.